We've been through some of the if statements, and I just add a little bit more, and we're going to create a little bit more, I want to say complex, but a little bit more advanced if-else statement here. Last video I just showed you the larger sign, the smaller sign, and equal sign. So up here, just to show the difference, I'm using a single equal sign to assign a value. So I'm assigning some value to our variable called age here, whereas down here I'm using two, so I'm comparing them, not assigning the value, but comparing them to each other. If I removed one, I would be assigning a value, whereas this with two equals comparing the value of them, so is 25 equals to 25, not assigning the value. I can even add one more. It's just a stricter version of it. So both needs to be, for example, numbers, where this could mean one could be a string with, with 25 in quotes, and this one over here without quotes, and it could still compare them to each other. Whereas this is very strict, so it needs to be exactly the same. This is a little bit more loose, but both of them, when you add more than one equal sign, is comparing things, so a comparison. Anyways, we're going to create a new statement here where we just add a little bit more to our piece of code here. And we're still going to use an if statement, so we're just going to make it a little bit more advanced. So we create the structure of our if here with parentheses, curly brackets, and all that stuff. And we're just going to quickly create a console log, so that's kind of over with it. And we're just going to go with no worries, be abby. Like this. So this is what we wanted to print out. If our statement up here is true, and we're going to create and use some new pieces of characters that we might not have used yet. We're going to be using this. So double @ I can't remember what they're called, amp something. Two of those means basically and. So if this needs to be true and this also needs to be true. And we're also going to be using two of these, which basically means, I'm just going to do it in 2 lines. This is equal and, like this, whereas this equals or. So if two things are the same, then you're all right. If they're not the same, we can also use a or statement. So if that's not, then we can do this instead. And if this is true, then we're still going to grade the condition true or false based on that part. But let's see what it actually does and how we can use this. So in our if statement, we're going to be using our age again, and we're going to be using the other way, this one and this. So we're putting two of them together now. We're telling it age needs to be smaller than let's say 10 in this case, and we're going to be using the double that sign I can't remember the name of, and we're also going to tell the age to be smaller than 27. That's our first statement we have here. Let's just try to see if anything happens here. So let's go to a browser. It says no worries, be happy. So right now part of this information here is what happened to my screen. Part of our information here is true because 25 is over here. Its age is still 25 is still smaller than 27, of course. That means this part of the statement is true, and it's also bigger or equal to 10. So if I go and push in 9 here, it's gonna disappear because it's still age is still smaller than 27, of course, right? You see this is still true, but this part over here is no longer true. So right now it says false and it says true. So that's kind of the statement. That's why there's nothing here. But if I create something where it's true, it's going to print it out. So it needs, when we're using this, we need to have both of our our statements, our conditions needs to be true for something to print it out. Otherwise we could use the or sign, a double here. So if we do this, then we will print it out again because one of them is true. Now this one over here is true, this one is no longer true, but it's still going to print it out because at least one of them is true. So using this, we need both to be true. So let's go with 25 again to print it out. Yay, awesome. Let's go with 2030 So we don't print anything out and add a else statement to this. So if it's not true, then we're going to do something else, and let's go with dang nabbit. I'm taking a nap. I don't know why. So because our statement is none of them are now true, or if only one of them are true, it's going to go to the conclusion this is false and use the last statement down here because this one is no longer true. So fallback here. All right, let's add a little bit more to our condition up here. We're going to add a double or the or here. So if this statement is no longer true, we still have a possibility to create a extra statement over here says, well, dude, if you're not true in both of those, maybe my information over here is true, and then I'll still print this out even though this is not true. So let's try to add a little bit more to this. We're going to use the age again because we have the variable up here that's value of 2030. I'm going to say that from now on. And let's do this. And this needs to be the age. If this is true, 30, dang nabbit, I'm taking a nap. So if age is bigger than 50, then it's going to print out no worries, be happy. So right now we added 60 to our age, so it says 60 is bigger than 50. That is true, right? But none of these over here is true anymore. So let's go back, refresh, and then we're back to having no worries, be happy. So we can use the conditions here to create a statement that's true or false based on more than one set of conditions. So this is one condition, this is one condition, and this is one condition. They're just having a different set of, let's go with like different places where the condition is true, and it just needs either one of them to be true. So true, true, or if it's true, false, not working. Or if this one is true, then it's printing them out. If none of these are true, then go to this part. So what should I write here for this to not be true? It can't be below, well, it can be from 0 to 9, then it's not true. Yes? If I go 10, then it's either 10 or bigger. Yes, then we're back to this. Then I can go all the way up to 26. Woo! What about 27? No, because age is smaller than 27, but if I wanted to include 27, then I just add the extra equal sign here, like this, and remember, you can also do this. No, you can't, can you? You can. So it only takes one in this case, but this does not mean a sign because there's a value in front of it. So that's just something to remember. Or the last one here, but that's kind of showing you how we can create multiple conditions to create something in an if statement.